Imagine a person slowly replacing their actions one by one from dishonesty to honesty, from selfishness to kindness. At what point do they become a good person? Now imagine someone gradually making worse choices. When do they truly become bad? This is the ethical dimension of the Ship of Theseus paradox. If something is gradually changed, at what point does its moral identity shift? What does this mean for personal responsibility, redemption, and the ethical weight of our choices? Let's dive into how ethics approaches this fascinating paradox. At the heart of ethics is the question of responsibility. If we say that a person is morally responsible for their actions, does that responsibility persist, even if they have changed over time? If a person who committed a crime years ago is now completely different, morally, mentally, even biologically, are they still responsible for their past actions? If someone gradually becomes corrupt, at what point do we hold them accountable? The Ship of Theseus forces us to rethink how we define accountability. Are we judged based on past actions, present character, or an ongoing process of change? Different ethical perspectives approach this paradox in unique ways. 1. Consequentialism, the focus on outcomes. A consequentialist, like a utilitarian, would argue that what matters is not whether the ship is the same, but rather the results it produces. In ethical terms, if a person's current actions lead to good consequences, does it matter who they used to be? Does punishment for past actions serve a purpose if the person has fundamentally changed? 2. Deontology, the role of duty and rules. From a deontological perspective, such as Kant's ethics, actions are judged based on moral principles, regardless of change. If a person has done wrong, they are responsible, no matter how much they've changed. If a person has done good, they deserve recognition, even if their present self is different. This raises an ethical tension. Do we judge based on continuity of the person or the actions themselves? 3. Virtue ethics. The process of becoming virtue ethics, stemming from Aristotle, views morality as a journey of character building. A person is not defined by a single moment but by their lifelong pursuit of virtue. Ethical identity is fluid. What matters is whether they are moving toward a better self. This perspective embraces the Ship of Theseus paradox. Just as a ship remains a ship through its evolving parts, a person remains moral through ongoing choices. If identity is ever-changing, what does that mean for real-world ethical dilemmas? Criminal justice: should a reformed criminal still face punishment for past actions? Or should we consider them a new person? Redemption and forgiveness. If people change, how do we determine when forgiveness is justified? Moral growth. If our ethical self is always shifting, how do we hold ourselves accountable for past mistakes? Ethics doesn't provide a single answer. It asks us to decide what defines moral continuity. Are we morally bound to our past selves, or do we have the freedom to redefine who we are? When do you think a person has truly changed? Should they still be accountable for their past actions? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective.